You are not going to want to miss this one. My name's Sean Larson, real estate broker here on 30A in Florida and the Nashville, Tennessee market, and I'm about to show you over 8,300 square feet right here in Watercolor, and they used color like no one else. They've got some light interiors, they've got some natural finishes, but their use of color is premium. They made their home pop with this, so you don't want to miss it. Let's go through it all. Now, these videos are watched from all around the country and really all around the world. Quite a few international visitors. So if you're not familiar with 30A in Florida, it is an amazing place. You have white, sugary sand beaches, super clear water. It is just amazing. And Watercolor is an exquisite community down here on 30A. Just look at the exterior of that home. Beautiful finishes, large front porch, landscaping with the pine straw. That is just beautiful. One nice thing about Watercolor is that all the landscaping throughout the community is so mature. It just gives you a welcoming feeling anytime you ride down any of the streets. That is just exquisite. So I mentioned their use of color. Look at that, it starts right here outside. And everybody's vision of what a beach home or living near the beach is like, it just varies. But look at that. See, you have the white exterior and they put that punch in it right here beginning on the front porch. That is just awesome. And you're gonna find that follows throughout the whole home. They are so good at it. Nice finishes. You have the light exterior, contrasting windows. Are you ready to see one of the most amazing uses of color in a home? It is so intentional and specific everywhere. And look at that, it starts right when you enter the front door. Again, this is in the Watercolor community on 30A in Florida. And it is simply amazing. Over 8,300 square feet. And look at the blend of natural finishes with the color. It starts immediately when you enter the front door. Have a secondary bedroom right here off the foyer. And look at the great use. You know, we always talk about in the beach homes about keeping it bright. And part of that is having glass panels on the interior doors. So look how that perfectly complements the shiplap. Love the wide plank floors. Nice natural finish on those. And the double doors just give such a grand entrance to this room. Tall ceilings, cypress wood finish, ceiling fan. Love the recessed light too. If you've watched the videos, you know I'm all about recessed lighting. I like bright homes, period. I figure you can always turn the light down with curtains, shades, or switches, but I can't turn it up if I don't have it to begin with. This room is simply amazing. With cypress door panels. Nice clean tile design, tight grout lines, love that. Nice soft white cabinet color, blended with white countertops and surface mount sinks. Look at those mirror frames. Look how tall they are. Complemented with a perfect lighting fixture. See, that stuff doesn't happen accidentally. That is very intentional. That requires design, forethought, and it produces a cohesive look to the home. Amazing. Have your cypress door panel again. See, that is just beautiful. Your walk-in shower, glass door, white tiling, nice punch of blue in there. Look at that, that is beautiful. They complement it with the blue floor tiles. Very nice. Get a close up of that tile just so you can appreciate the texture in it. Very, very nice. So this is a secondary bedroom right here on the main level. And you can tell already what the home is going to be like. Exquisite use of color. Look at the wall finishing. Absolutely stunning. I'll try to keep you up on where we are in the home. We're back to the foyer. Straight across you have the staircase. We're going to come back to that. We're going to take a look at the main level first, but it's so stunning, I've got to give you this shot. Look at this. And you know my videos, I tell you if there's a magazine shot, and look at that. Any of that would be on the cover of an architectural magazine or a design magazine. That is simply spectacular. Well thought out design and planning on the railing as well. You have a main rail with lighting underneath, and you have a secondary rail in case children need it. Textured stairs that actually alternates colors. That's a design finish. And I can also imagine that helps just determine where each step, begins and ends just with navigation. So it's kind of a win-win, design element and functional. With that bank of windows. That is simply incredible. Underneath the stairs, you have a barn door, plenty of storage there. Large wall, plenty of room for that piece of art. Beautiful. This is a good example right here. When people design homes and build them, you have to make sure that the accessories you're putting in there or the finishes are proportional to the room. That's true for lighting, art, mirrors, and look at that right there. That mirror is completely proportional for that ceiling height. That is stunning right there. Right here to the side, you have your elevator on the main level. Next to that, you have a powder. Beautiful. That countertop. See, use of color, look at that. Look how detailed it is. Even all the way up to the light fixture. That little sprinkling of blue on that light fixture. Stunning. I like the transom over the doorway too. Nice detail. Look at the living space. Incredible. And see, this is a premium example of how you use color in a home. If you notice, the finishes are light and natural. You've got your brighter walls, got natural colored beams, but it's the color, that really is the major element here. There's another magazine shot right there. We call them out in videos when we see them. That's one right there. Beach homes are always full of activity. You've got guests, you've got family coming in. And so you're always looking how you're gonna seat everybody, how the groups are gonna gather. But at the same time, you also want space, for everybody to kind of go do their own thing for a while. But when you look through this room, look how well that's going to accommodate a group of people. That is stunning right there. Right off the main living room, you have the bar, waterfall countertop. Look at that underlighting. And look at the use of color right here in the seating. That blue and gold goes perfectly together. Like the base cabinet design too. Perfect combination of drawers and doors. Got nice lighting in your glass fronted cabinets. Look at all the way to the ceiling. Art placement right there in the center. That's stunning. I like the brick texture behind it too. So if you look at the art, the art has gloss or is glass, but then you kind of contrast that with the texture behind it. That's foresight right there. That is designer foresight. I'm just letting you take it all in. It is amazing, isn't it? Every single detail is so well planned. A lot of homes you see and they knock it out of the park in some rooms. This one knocks it out of the park in all rooms. Open kitchen, another seating area, and they've created it perfectly with the area rug, perfect placement and number of seats there, while leaving spectacular navigation options right there. Stunning. Large island. And I like how it overhangs so much. You see that? That's very intentional as well. So when the seats go under, see they're almost all the way under, opens up navigation. It's actually more comfortable too. Beautiful veining in the countertop. Glass fronted cabinets. Perfect lighting in there too. Lighting within cabinets has to be just right so it doesn't overwhelm the viewer. And those mini spots are perfect in there. Your custom hood. I like the backsplash goes to the ceiling too. You see that? Nice natural tiling. Your wolf range. Well laid out too, right across from the farm sink in the island. And if you're a cook, you know how important layout is. So your proximity of the sink to the range to the refrigerator, very important. That hood is just amazing. Cabinet fronted refrigerator. Look at that. Custom push plates on the door. I love that. Now, how is this for a dining room? This is nothing short of spectacular. And that is probably one of the best uses of color I've probably seen in a luxury home. That is stunning. You start with the natural wood finish of the casement or the case trim right into the room. Perfect window treatments. Look at that. The banding lets light in, but also serves as a decoration piece. Blue on the walls and the furniture, and that artwork is just amazing. And is that not the perfect light fixture for that? I like how the chairs are different heights too with the backs. It's so comforting. I step into this space just while filming, and you can immediately hear the difference with the area rug and the upholstery on the chairs. There's actually a volume difference. I love that. That is stunning. So you can just imagine how well this takes care of a group of people just in this one shot. We have all the seating around the island. We have the dining table behind me. You have your informal dining right here. And look at all your seating options. And we haven't even made it outside yet. So you have to be agreeing by now that this is probably the most premium use of color you've ever seen. So we're leaving the living space, living room and kitchen area. We're heading back toward the foyer. And look at this surprise. Combination of a scullery and a laundry room with an exterior door. So if you were at the beach, maybe playing outside or what have you, you can come right in and drop everything you need right here in the laundry room. Plenty of storage. Have your sink, dishwasher, double ovens in the wall, additional refrigerator. That is awesome. Same light or naturally finished floors. That's spectacular. Back out to the foyer, you have your elevator on the left. I'm gonna give you another shot of this staircase. This is simply incredible. No matter how many times you look at it, that is just amazing. Up to the second level. So here you really get a really good shot of that under rail lighting. Beautiful. Can you imagine that at night? Large bank of windows on the right keeps the stair landing really bright. And if you notice, we talk a lot about windows and, glass panes and interior doors, helping to create flow through a home. If you look at this, the way they've created the stairs, see the gap between the stairs where the riser would be? So you can see through that. And that's another element that kind of opens up your home instead of just having everything blocked off. I love that detail. You arrive at a sizable landing. Look at that. Plenty of seating right here. So if you figure if you're going to have all the family and guests, it's nice, to have all the spots where they can get together and then all the spots where they can kind of retreat and just relax on their own. Beautiful. Cypress ceiling, recessed lighting, and much like the secondary bedroom on the main level, perfect wall finish. That is perfect for the beach, but that is perfect for any occasion. That just nails that wall. I like the fact too that the horizontal pattern, tends to, give you a visual extension of the room. So when you have horizontal lines like that, it tends to make the room look even deeper. I like that. Double closets with cypress fronted doors. Dedicated bath. Perfect tile. Look at that herringbone pattern. Has a little bit of a linen pattern to it. I love that. Nice soft white cabinet color. White top. Perfect use of color with that tile running from the vanity all the way to the ceiling. Light fixtures. Kind of resemble bubbles a little bit. I love that. Even bubbles in the glass. Double sinks. And have you noticed all the shiplap in the home? You haven't seen any sheetrock. Walk-in shower, similar to the one on the main level. I like how they used the white and then popped it with color. Some on the wall. I really like the small tiles. I like small bathroom and shower tiles. That is stunning. Secondary bedroom on the second level. We're back out to the main landing. Here on the right, you're gonna have the elevator on the second level. That nice coffee bar. I like how they've implemented that cabinet design too. Look at that. You can set the art in there just perfectly. Lighting on the cabinets is just right. You have the mini spots in the ceiling. Very, very nice. Because if you're gonna have this many guests and they're gonna be on several floors, it's nice that, they each can have, a refreshment center, if you will. Goes right into the second floor laundry. Look at all of the drawer storage. I have an appreciation for drawers. Wow, look at that. Tile all the way to the ceiling. Look how far the upper cabinets go. All the way up, and you've got top of cabinet lighting. That is perfect. Plenty of folding room. So if you have a standard counter depth, which is over here with the base cabinets, see, I like it how they extend it out because, face it, when you're trying to fold shirts, you need a lot of room. So I like it when they do extend it out and it completely covers the washer and dryer and gives you plenty of room to do all your folding. Holds the basket well and everything. Very, very nice. If you need to shut it off, you've got the barn door there. Like that hardware on that barn door too. Hardware for barn doors is not all created equal. I love that. Straight across the hall, we're going into another secondary bedroom. Cypress door panel, very nice. Look at that wall design. Have it trimmed out. Have your recessed lighting. That is what is called intentional design. And I love that. When somebody thinks of something and then, can implement it so well and you see the results of it, that is just, it's impressive. And you see a lot of new construction and they try to put some features in there. But when you see something like this where it's so well thought out, and look at the result of that. We're still continuing with the punches of colors. Have you noticed that? White shiplap all on the walls. And the color is presented with all the accessories and furnishings. Stunning. Dedicated bathroom. Double sink vanity. And look at the framing on the mirrors. Does that look familiar? It parallels the framing design that you just saw with the lighting in the bedroom. Even when it comes down to the towels, look at that. They coordinate perfectly with the home. They look outstanding on those floating shelves. Tile design kind of mimics waves a little bit. I like that. Small tiles on the floor. And if you've watched the videos, you know I like that. I'm not against big tiles. I like those too. But something about small tiles in bathrooms, I just like how it can look trendy and can also look kind of vintage. I'm just a fan. Very, very nice. Perfect window treatments too. Look at that design. Does it not coordinate perfectly with everything? Okay, we're back out to the landing, kind of the foyer on the second level. That stunning artwork right there. Beautiful. Now, I know some of you just gasped when you saw this room. This is simply amazing. See, look at that. You still have white shiplap. And look, they're doing it all with color, all the design. Nice natural wood on the wall and ceiling there. This is a good example too of how furniture can contribute to your look. Now this bedroom, I'll give you, is extremely large. But regardless of the size of a room, the furniture you select is going to contribute to what the room looks like. So for instance, if you look at this furniture, including the desk across the room, it's not heavy furniture. You know, you don't have really big posts, and that really contributes to how your room is going to turn out. So this is another example of intentional design. You know, they had a look and they sought or fabricated the items needed to pull off that vision. Simply stunning. I also like the size of the area rug, how it starts under the bed there. This is just a designer's comment, I think. Starts under the bed, but look how it comes out, and it also creates the space for the sitting for watching TV. Very, very nice. Dedicated bathroom. Floating vanities. One sink per vanity. Under cabinet lighting. And I like how the mirrors are to scale. If you would have put a small mirror there with a ceiling that high, it just wouldn't have worked. This is perfect. Flanked with the sconces, each one. Beautiful. See, the cypress continues on the ceiling in here. The room's also flooded with daylight. Let me back up so you can see these doors and windows. See, that contributes to the room being so bright. And my theory is you can always turn the light down if you have it. Shades, curtains, and light switches. But you can't turn it up if you don't have it. Look at that view. Right over the pool. That is just stunning. I like how this is kind of tucked back. It's like its own little room. I like that. Have your own spa right back here within the bath. Look at the glass too. See, more glass panels. I like the design in these too. See the wave? I like that. And see all those internal glass panels within the home help contribute to the light flowing through, and visually it just makes each space look deeper and bigger because you're actually getting to see through it instead of being stopped by a wall. Directly across the room, you've got the walk-in shower. Look at that tile. So many natural tones in there and texture. See if you can pick up that texture. Three-dimensional. That is beautiful. Small tiles on the floor, nice natural finishes. Floor to ceiling tile, several heads, sprayer, tiled ceiling too. Very beautiful. And I like too, you see a wide variety of showers. You see half walls, you see the whole wall be glass, and I like how this one is about a little over half wall, and then they continue with glass. Because if you continue with that glass, what's it gonna do? That's right, it's gonna keep it bright. But I kind of like how high up they brought that wall. Beautiful, beautiful implementation. Look at this closet. Look at the panels on that door right there. Is that not cool? So you have twin closets here. Same natural floor in it. With all the custom built in. All the drawers. Plenty of room for half-height hanging on this side. It's simply stunning. Look at all the shoe racks. And keep in mind, anytime those are built in, that is usually done right here on site. It's not a system they put in. That is custom built right there. Straight across, second closet. Again, you've got the drawer stack. Plenty of custom built-ins. Love the lighting fixture. Have your makeup counter with TV too. That is awesome. I love that. Okay, you're gonna get another look at this bedroom. Is that not stunning? Every time you see that, it's equally as stunning. Okay, we're gonna jump outside on this second level balcony. I'm gonna give you your first look at that pool. Over on the right here, you have a carriage house with air-conditioned garage. Another one on the other side, but until we get there, look at this upper level balcony. And look how deep it is. Got plenty of room for the furniture and navigation. Chimney off the end. That stain on that ceiling. This is something I appreciate. Look how deep the overhang is. So when weather comes in, I like how deep that is. That definitely improves your coverage. Okay, you ready for it, right? Is that not stunning? And it's perfect with the courtyard. You know, you have a garage flanking it on each side. Provides seclusion. That is beautiful. Okay, we've come back in. Again, we're on the second level. We're back out to the foyer on the second level. Front side of the home, also a porch. How beautiful is this? Right on the front of the home. And see, the punch of color continues out here. It is so well done throughout the entire home. Look how high your ceilings are. Love the rope swing. Stained ceiling. All screened in. Again, we're on the front of the home. So let me show you what is straight across from the home. Is that not a beautiful canopy of trees right there? And that's one of the things watercolor is known for. You know, the growth is all mature. It is simply beautiful out here. So you have a sunny day right now, and look how shaded it is in here. So you'd have a tough time picking, are you gonna sit on the front porch, the rear porch, or at the pool? Beautiful. Okay, you get some more of that awesome staircase. Up to another landing, and look how well planned it is. Another bank of windows letting plenty of light in. Those natural stairs are just awesome. And I like how you can see through those. Sometimes those little details, it's easy for people to overlook those. And that floor. Again, shiplap finishes. And see, here we are on the third level, and look how high the ceilings are even at this level. You know, sometimes on homes when you start going up levels, things start changing, finishes are reduced, but not in this home at all. Now you can already imagine your group here, gathering here, carrying on, playing games, and look at the bunk room over there. Full bath here. Gaming session number 2 right here. I mean, look at that. Have the built-in banquette seating, table perfect with seating surrounded. More shiplap. Barn door access right here, which is really nice because you don't have to worry about that door swing. Door swings take a lot of space. Oh, I'm liking those tiles. Those small tiles. perfect for this home. And the location, punch of color there on that tile in the niche. I like the size of that niche too. Look at that, it goes completely across the shower. Chrome finishes on the plumbing, floating shelves, towels stacked perfectly. I love it. Lighting fixtures spot on. Now see, you have to be agreeing with me by now that they simply nailed it with color. Soft white, cabinet white, top surface mount sink. That is perfection right there. Come across, we have another bedroom, and look how large it is. You've not only got space, because a lot of times I'm giving you reference on bed sizes so you can kind of tell how large a room is in video. So there you've got the king bed, 2 nightstands, and still room for the couch. That just shows you the scale of the room. Well done on the artwork too. Look at that, the wide artwork parallels the sofa. That is perfect. Have the mirror there perfectly placed. Also parallels the door frame. Very, very well thought out. Similar design here, tile. They also put the punch in the niche. Love that color. Kind of like that linen tile a bit. Let me see if you can pick up that texture. That is beautiful. Floating shelves, beach towels, bath towels. Again, they ran the beach theme all the way to the ceiling. Came down, soft white cabinet, white countertop and surface mount, sink. I love how thick that glass is too. Okay, we're on to the bunk beds. I know you want to see the bunk beds. Look at that. Stairs up the side. Beautiful. No matter who your guests are, I know which room they're claiming. Look at that. We turn around to the other side, a duplicate set. That is beautiful. I like the detail as well of the curtains. Look at that. You have a curtain rod on each one. Everybody has their privacy. They can pull the curtains. Everybody has their own light in case they should need that for reading or just need to get up in the middle of the night. That is stunning. Elevator on the left. So this is the 3rd level. Just keeping track. We've just come down to the main level, and I know you're ready to see that pool, aren't you? Well, that is where we are headed. We're going to show you everything to the rear of this home. The pool, 2 air-conditioned garages. It is amazing. This is what a lot of you have been waiting to see. Everybody enjoys seeing the pools and the kitchens. Look at that. Is that not stunning right there? Look at the color of that water. You probably want to jump in that water right through your computer screen right now. I'll just let you take this in for a second. Look how amazing this space is. So we just covered all the gathering spaces, the secondary bedrooms, the primary bedrooms inside. You had plenty of spaces where people could gather, everybody could go, kind of relax on their own. And now we're outside, and look how many you have out here. The choices are nearly endless. Just look at the number of seats that you have in this one place, right around the fire, media above, and at the same time, you have the breezeways on the side to keep the air flowing. Very, very well designed. Stained ceiling. And look at that. The artwork continues out here. So it's kind of like the white is, a canvas, and they just painted their design on it through the use of color, literally with artwork. with the accessories, the area rugs. And this does not happen by accident. Look at this detail. Even on the exterior. Look at the pattern. See, they're just not all equally spaced. It's wide, thin, wide, thin. That's intentional right there. Like the aqua or teal color cushions. When we first came in, I first mentioned, you know, they started introducing color on the front porch. There you go, right there on the back as well. Part of the intentional design too was to have the home elevated slightly above the pool. Gives you a completely different vantage point, and the presentation is phenomenal. So what you're seeing there's one behind me as well. You've got a garage there, air conditioned, outdoor kitchen, and we'll get to that side. See, the deck is perfect size for the lounge chairs, navigation, everything. And it's amazing too how you have, you know, a structure like this that completely changes that space. That could have easily just been left blank, and over the fountains you just had the hedge in the background. But that completely changes that space. Here you get to look back at the home. You're going to see the second level porch that we went out on. And I appreciate those wide overhangs on the roof line. That is awesome. Duck into one of the garages. So you're just going to have to pretend that you can feel the air conditioning. It is so nice in here. Look at those garage doors. And so you're used to seeing metal or insulated doors. Look at that wood. That's almost an art piece right there, looking at the back of that door, is it not? Here's another thing you do not see too often. Pavers running into the garage. You know, a standard garage floor material is going to be concrete. Plenty of coating options, but rarely do you see pavers running into the garage. Have your mini split unit up there on the upper right. And that's a mini HVAC unit in case you weren't sure what a mini split was. Plenty of storage. Have your central vac on the far left. Central vac is a vacuum cleaner that is plumbed or piped through the home, so you can plug in the wand anywhere and it sucks everything to one location. Very, very well implemented. So we've come out of the garage, up just a couple steps, then across the home. Got your outdoor kitchen. All that seating. And each of these places, you know, great conversation areas. You know, even if dinner, lunchtime is already over, they still serve as a wonderful place for people to gather and sit. And look at that, you've got eight seats just in this one spot. I like how they've arranged this hood too. And a lot of them, you know, if you have a grill under a covered porch, you have the hood there, but I like how they implemented this into one enclosure instead of just having the hood extend outward on its own. Very nice. Real natural countertop. And the artwork carries out on this side too. Second garage, and you can see where you have these two garages and it flanks the pool and kind of surrounds it. So the pool is virtually surrounded on 3 sides, so it builds your own privacy area. Down just a couple steps, look at that, you've got pavers as well. Beautiful, beautiful doors. And I know some people don't evaluate garages like I do, but I sure have an appreciation for a garage. And when I see something implemented like that, it's worth pointing out. Have your mini split up there. And again, that's your HVAC unit for the garage. Very, very nice built-ins. Kind of have a drop zone there, what we would call it. So, you pull in the garage, you have some things, coats, backpacks, whatever, you might drop them there. Room for another refrigerator. Got a central vac out here as well. Very nice, look at that. Even in the garage, look at the artwork. That is thorough planning right there. Okay, here's a feature that the other garage does not have. Look at this surprise. Look at that. And look how bright the staircase is. Even on the landing, the artwork continues. This is so impressive. And I think you're gonna have to agree with this. Windows continue, keeping the entire stairwell bright. That is incredible. And look what awaits you at the top of the stairs. The finish level just keeps going, even in the carriage house. A lighting fixture. Beautiful tile all the way to the ceiling. Floating shelves, perfect spotlights. They nailed it on the size and intensity of spotlights on those floating shelves all throughout the house. Much like we talked about on the second level of the main home, it's nice when these other spaces have refreshment centers. So when your guests are here, they have their own area where they can either snack or get a drink. Nice seating, like the built-in seating there. Nice TV center. I like how it's flanked with that full height storage. Well use of the space. Vault ceiling, beam. Wall covering is perfect too. Beautiful storage, plenty of drawers, cabinets, dedicated bathroom. The shiplap continues. Plenty of storage. Nice soft white finish. Look at that, you have a waterfall countertop, goes over the side, much like a kitchen island. Very nice. And another thing that's proportional and to scale. Remember we talked about how tall the mirrors are for the ceiling height? They were very attentive and did that everywhere. Because it just doesn't look correct if you have really high ceilings and then you're putting either small mirrors or small artwork. That just doesn't work out. Nice natural tones. Just a little bit of black and white punch in that niche. That's perfect. Very, very nice. See, I wasn't kidding, was I? Over 8,300 square feet and probably the most premium example you have ever seen of somebody using color to punch the home up. It is absolutely spectacular. Again, this home is in the Watercolor community on 30A in Florida. My name again is Sean Larson, real estate broker here on 30A and the Nashville, Tennessee market. If I can answer anything related to the home, the community, or real estate in general, please let me know and I'll take great care of you. I hope you have a fantastic day.